Hey guys, it's Ayla Melendez, aka Real Estate, and I'm your host of the Chronicles R.E.I. edition. Today we have a very special guest. This is our first lady on the show for episode 5. This is Mitzi Dyane. Mitzi, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Mitzi Dyane. I'm a real estate investor. Been doing it for like 7 years, and I own Swiss Hall properties, and I also train other people how to be real estate investors and mindset stuff.
Thank you. I'm very excited to have you. I'm not the only lady here this time.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So I always ask this question. Who are you as a person outside of real estate?
Oh, I am a deep thinker. I'm somebody who likes to watch people. So I'm a people watcher. And I like to just see like why people do what they do, like understand. So I'm like a big, like, I'm not a surface level, like superficial kind of person. So I don't like small talk. I'm one of those, like if somebody's like, oh, how's your day? Like, how's the weather? I'm like, oh no. I'm more of like, hey, so what's life? What's your life like? What's your ideal life? What are your dreams? Like, I'm like one of those kind of people. We hang out.
So of course. Skip all the small talk. Like what was the best part of your day? Detail it, tell it to me.
Yeah.
I love that. That makes more connection for people. So I enjoy conversations like that. It's like, hey, how are you? It's like, all right, let's get all of the script out of the way.
I know. Let's be real now. Yeah. So I like the whole realness of life and people and getting to know their stories. And like, just from that, I've like, and just going deep into like universal law, Semitic philosophy. I'm like somebody who just continues to dive into stuff. I just feel like I don't know. I feel like I'm a cheat code finder.
Hey, that's a perfect way to describe yourself.
Yeah.
Cheat code, because everybody wants the cheat code.
Right?
Now tell me, where are you from?
Canton, Texas.
What's that close by? Because you've told me before.
Yeah, Dallas and Tyler, Texas. It's like in between the two. It's known for First Monday Trades Days.
Really?
It's the biggest flea market in the nation. It's probably in the world.
Wow.
But yeah, it's pretty big.
Have you ever sold anything there?
You know what? Everybody worked there but me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I just bought there.
Oh, got it. All right. What's it known for? Like, other than that flea market, or is that just the staple for that town?
Oh, yeah. It's the staple for the town.
Wow. Why have I never known that? Did you go there a lot?
Well, when I was a teenager and I wanted to meet guys, I would go.
Oh, so it was like the equivalent of like a mall, but, better cost.
Yeah, and everybody's from out of the state. So you're like, hey, what's up?
That's funny. What was your first job? Was it in Canton?
Yes.
Where was that?
My first job, I was 9 years old and I worked in a sock factory. It sounds like I didn't really grow up in the United States.
Right, a sweat factory? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, basically they didn't have AC.
So what did you specifically do there?
I matched socks together, the same socks before the toe ends were sewed.
Wow. That is so random.
I know, right?
What age were you?
9.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how much were you getting paid at 9?
10 cents a pound.
Oh my goodness. A pound? How many pounds were you doing a day?
I was doing enough to at least make $5 whenever I worked today. But at 9, $5 was a lot of money. I could buy some good candy back then.
Right? To resell, right?
Yeah. That's what I would do. I would go to Sam's Club. I would buy the huge thing of Sour Powers for like $5, and then I would sell them on the bus. So I was like, and I also sold bubble gum. So I was called the bubblegum girl. Yeah. Yeah.
That's such a cute name. So you went from socks to real estate. That's a big jump.
Yeah.
What made you get into real estate then years down the line?
So when I was 16, I actually tried to buy my first property.
Wow. How did that go?
They laughed at me because they were like, do you have credit? You can't sign a contract. I'm like, oh, I can't? They're like, no. And I'm like, oh, okay. They're like, wait till you're 18. And so I tried again when I was 18. And they were like, do you have credit? I'm like, no, how do you do that? And so they were like, find a credit card. So I applied for some credit cards, started like paying on those. And 6 months later I had credit and I was like, okay, I want to buy a house again. So I bought my first house at 19. And it actually was because now I've healed from my childhood and everything, but it was really traumatic. So I didn't feel like I had a place that was safe to live. So having my own home was so important to me. That's why I was trying to buy one as soon as I could. And so whenever I finally got one, I was like, nobody can do, like, everything is good here. And so I was really big. That was actually what made me want to buy a house so fast.
But what inspired you at 16 to was it just the way you were living and you're like, I want my own house. I'm gonna do this myself. Is that what it was?
Yes. It was pretty chaotic. Man. I was like, I want some peace.
Wow.
Yeah. So I actually started looking at the newspaper in real estate, in the real estate section, when I was 10. Wow. So I was a freaking nerd. So I'd watched how real estate went up from 10 to 16. And I was like, man, this is a really great investment. And I wanted to jump in too. So I knew if I just buy now, it's going to increase over time, because I noticed that. And I noticed like the outside cities, the big cities were growing too. So I started recognizing patterns from the time I was 10 to 18 before I was able to buy my first house. And it was like, so that really set me up for recognizing certain patterns, everything. So that was pretty cool.
And all of that was in Canton, Texas, right? Did you see anyone around you buying real estate or owning real estate? No, it was just a random thing you stumble on. Wow. Did you self-teach yourself when you got in?
Yeah, when I first started, I did. And then I was actually a financial advisor for like 10 years, and I would just do some stuff on the side here and there in real estate, but I never thought I could do it full time. Well, I quit my job to become a yoga teacher, do my hippie Mitzi side.
What age was that?
I was, how long has it been? I think I was 30.
Okay.
So I quit. I was inheriting a huge book of business. I was going to be making like so much money as a financial advisor. And I was like, is this really what I want to do with my life? And I actually quit right before a huge like pay increase. And I was like, this isn't right for me to stay here. So I became a yoga instructor, Ayurvedic practitioner, meditation teacher, breathwork teacher. I was like all into all of that. And while I was doing that, I was reading Think and Grow Rich for the second time. And while I was reading it, I was like, why do I just do real estate? Like just on the side, kind of here and there. And why don't I do it like full time? And I was like, I got to drop all these limiting beliefs that I have. So I did. And 2 days later, from reading that book, I hired Victor Moss as my first mentor.
Wow. The attorney in San Antonio.
Yes. And then 23 days later, I had my first deal done at $50,000. And I was like, all in.
That's awesome. So what was that? Was it a flip, a rental, wholesale?
Wholesale.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Wow. And you said that was like in your early 30s. That's a really good spread.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you have like any mentors around that time, or any books that other than like Think and Grow Rich? Or was that kind of like that staple to where you're like, nope, full time?
Yeah. Well, and Victor, he taught us some stuff, but it was basically the stuff I'd already known with what I was already doing. I didn't realize I was already kind of wholesaling. So I would find a lot and then I'd sell it for more, or I would find like a house for $6,000 and sell it for 12, or just small stuff like that. I just didn't realize I was already doing it. And so I put a fire under my butt because they spent like $5,000 on the mentorship. And I was like, man, I didn't really learn anything I didn't already know. So I had to like have faith in myself.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like his fault. It's just, it was me thinking I didn't know enough.
Yeah.
And so then, then I did the second one, another $50,000. I was like, hell yeah.
You're like, forget yoga.
Yeah, right. I'll do yoga in my pastime.
Right. That's the hobby now. Well, as a female, have you faced like any challenges to where that kind of stuck with you or made you grow from that, just from being a female alone?
Oh, yeah. This is like a male dominated industry, or wholesaling.
I agree.
Is. And so it was interesting, just trying to make it, because I was going up to these men, asking them questions like at networking events. I was like, hey, I'm getting started. I was wondering if there's something I could help you with so I could learn, what you do. And they're like, how many deals have you done? And I'm like, none. Yeah. And they're like, talk to me when you've done some deals. And it was like a year later, those same people who would have nothing to do with me was asking me questions. And of course, I'm going to be the bigger person. So I was like, oh, you're asking me questions? How many deals have you done? No,
right. The rabbit has the gun now.
And I was just like, yeah, dude. And I would just answer their questions. I just,
Wow. Have any of those people that kind of looked at you in a certain light, come to you for like mentorship or want a partner or anything?
Yeah. Actually, they did.
Wow. That's so funny. What's been like the most significant changes in the real estate industry, like probably within like the 5 years from your perspective?
The biggest changes, I think real estate is always, it has its cycles. So, and I have noticed that like every 7 years, certain things happen and all of that. So I think it's just, as long as you've understood those cycles after watching them, then you kind of see where we are. People act like it's a new thing every single time a new cycle starts. And I'm like, guys, this even happens with stocks. Like everything's cyclical. Check it out. How I start seeing patterns, I guess, and this is how I kind of know where to navigate and what to do, is I just look what's going on in the market now, not 6 months ago, and I don't listen to what the news says. I look at what people are really doing, and I talk to people. So I knew what areas of San Antonio were going to grow faster because what was going on in the areas. Like I knew Denver Heights was going to be the next place, and like even my mentors at the time was like, "That's stupid, Mitzi. No, focus on this area." So, and I was like, "No, I'm pretty sure this is going to be the next hit." But it's when areas get like overtaxed, like Dignity and different areas, you can tell the next place that's close to that is going to start getting flooded, especially when the taxes aren't as high and the houses are very similar area. It only makes sense because that's where are people going to go. But I think it's just getting to know your area really and understanding the cycles of real estate.
Gotcha. I agree. But personally, I followed you for a while and I've seen your real estate journey and I've seen a million things that you've done. Do you have like any secrets or any tips to create those big assignment fees that you keep coming across? Other than, of course, negotiations, do you have like any tips that you can give for the large assignment fees?
You know, I'm big energy kind of person. So what I do is I actually think that you create your physical reality with your energy and your thoughts first. So I start there. I know a lot of people think, oh no, you should mess with the 3D world. I actually think looking at the 3D world is like basically watching a show on the television. You can scream at it all you want. You can try to do everything you can in this moment to change what's happening right now. But it's already been created in a way from the energy you already had. So what I do is I actually work on my energy and my emotions and my thoughts, and I'll be like, I'm a bad bitch and I'm going to make $100,000. That's
your favorite phrase. I love that.
Yeah. And I just put it out there and I say, and it's going to flow to me. So somebody calls me and will start talking to me and I'll get like, they'll be like, hey, I want to give you a free house. I'm like, I know you do. You know, like
you're like, as you should.
Yeah, like I know. I just put it out there this morning that I wanted that to happen. And so I actually focus a lot more on the energy part of things and what I want to happen and how it will feel to have it. And then I put all my senses into it. And then I just expect the universe to deliver. And I expect it to be delivered through
Nothing
people
less.
and however. Yeah.
So what is energy to you specifically?
Everything is energy. So like everything is vibrating and that's an energy. And we all, like, if you just go down to the physics of everything, it's everything. So like everything is built from this and everything is it. So like if you can just understand, I kind of like to call myself an alchemist. So like people can send me negative energy and baby, I just got your energy. That's all I needed. I can turn it around and to make it positive for me.
You do whatever you want with the energy as long as you get it.
Yeah, come on. And so I kind of look at it like the building blocks of everything. So like the more energy you have, and that comes from, you know, being healthy, like having good mental, physical, all of that, emotional health, getting to know yourself and all that. I'm not sure if I'm answering your question. I think I'm rambling.
No,
right
you
now.
are. Because I asked what was energy to you. So you said it was everything around you. As long as it's being fed to you, you know, you do what you want with it.
Yeah.
So you did.
Yeah.
Are you an empath?
I used to call myself an empath.
I know you have a philosophy on that. So what's an empath to you? Because I know you have a very specific definition of it.
Yeah. So an empath can feel everybody else's feelings around them. They're usually hypervigilant, but it comes from having a childhood with an unstable parent where you didn't know what to expect the next minute. And so you had to start recognizing behaviors before they happened so you could try to try to avoid it or, whatever. It was more of a safety thing. And so like, I used to be like, oh yeah, I'm an empath. But the problem with like being a self-proclaimed empath, you probably are somebody who you don't really consider yourself. You consider everybody else. You're a people pleaser. You'll feel everybody else's feelings except for your own.
Yep.
So you don't heal. And you live in this cycle of victimization in ways, not all of them, because there's a lot of strong empaths. They can be really strong people. But the problem is they don't really ever get to know themselves because they know everybody else better. Yep. And so I'm like, it's good to have empathy, but you shouldn't just be labeled as just that because you're so much more.
I agree. I know Elon Musk, he recently said that money is energy. Do you agree with that? You do?
Oh, hell yeah. That's why I start off with energy first.
Like as long as we're on the same level, we're going to make money together.
Yeah. Money has a certain frequency. And as long as you're in that frequency, I really feel like we are electromagnetic beings. I mean, we are. It's been proven. And so our heart has this frequency that comes out and creates this aura around us. And it's a magnet, basically, for anything at that same frequency you are. So like whatever emotions you have, like primarily your primary emotions is going to be your frequencies you're letting out into the world. And you're going to be getting that stuff back. It acts like a boomerang because you are a freaking magnet for the energy and frequency you're putting out. So I just look at it like I'm a rich bitch, I've changed it to wealthy woman because I'm like, well, I don't want to be a bitch. But I had to be careful of my wording.
Especially whenever you speak affirmations all the time. You're like, hold on, do I want to be that or, a lady?
Right? I'm a wealthy woman.
There you go. And it sounds good.
Yeah.
Those affirmations really speak things into your life. Even when you're joking, the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference. So that's good that you were very self-aware of that. And you're like, you know what? No, if I'm going to speak it, I want it to actually come to me.
I know. Sometimes, and I'm big on those, like knowing words and all that. And I'll still like make posts on Facebook. And then like a few hours later, I'll read it. And I'm like, that was a pretty limiting belief there, Mitzi. And I'm like, delete, I feel like I should have a disclosure. I'm always growing, guys. I'm not the same person that posted this anymore.
That was me 18 minutes ago. But, this is now. This is now.
This is new elevated Mitzi.
Moving on to like technology. How do you see like the role of technology shaping the future of the world? And do you think it'll like possibly make us spiral?
No. This is funny. I think it's great where technology is headed. We actually just entered a new so Pluto entered I think it was Pisces or something, or I don't know. There was some kind of star changing or whatever, and it has to do with technology.
Oh, wow.
And it could be the destruction or the creation of it. So I think that there is going to be some things that are going to, of course, any technology, some things are going to become obsolete. And I think AI is going to be great. I'm hoping it makes people actually dive into who they really are, because that's what's going to actually be the competitive advantage. You have to be real and genuine, and AI can't do that.
I agree.
So I'm hoping it pushes people into actually stepping into who they really are so that they can they can start expressing themselves fully, because AI is not going to be able to copy you like that.
I agree. Because with AI, it's not going to give you that emotional intelligence. It's just artificial intelligence. Are you going to be using AI?
Yeah, well, I have Jasper. I haven't used it yet because everything that I talk about, it's funny because AI is I don't know what you're talking about.
That's good. That's the upper hand.
I know. I was like, well, I guess I'm talking about some good stuff. AI hasn't even caught up.
Yep.
And so I'm like, maybe I'm asking the questions wrong, but I've asked several different questions, and it has to come to me and say look, I'm limited here. And this is all I know. And you're asking me stuff I don't know.
Right? Because AI is almost like facts, frequently asked questions. It's it's not generating its own thing. It's hey, I've been fed all this knowledge. Let me rephrase it and give it to you. But whenever you're emotionally intelligent, you have that, you're more personable. So I agree with that 100%. Do you think that AI will be smarter than us in the future?
No. I think consciously we don't act as smart as we really are. Subconsciously, we have the supercomputer. It won't be able to add to us unless it's implanted in our brains and works with our brains, which I could see that happening later on, maybe making us more cyborg kind of like to live longer and to be healthier. But I think that the human brain will be so much more ahead just because of our abilities. And the brain's always evolving. You've got the reptilian brain, then you got that second brain, then you got the third brain on top of that. And this is why people have trouble creating habits or having goals and their habits coming together is because it's actually coming from two different brains that we have. So our brains are always evolving. AI also evolves, but it was created by us.
And in your coaching, you teach mindset as well, right? With the different brains and the habits. So what do you specifically teach on that in your coaching?
I basically show people the parameters that we live in because I'm big on energy, but there are certain laws to this world that we're living in. So you've got to understand those laws. And that's basically everything vibrates, everything's mental. There's polarity in everything. And then there's also male and female in everything, as above, so below. And there's just certain things that it's been proven for thousands and thousands of years. And then also getting to know yourself and knowing how your mind, your thoughts, your body, and your emotions are actually tools for us to master. They weren't ever meant to take us over. So your body's like your spacesuit to be able to experience this life. It's really freaking awesome. And then you've got your thoughts, which are like, I think they're like a TV guide of energy you've already created. So you can pick up what show you want by focusing on it.
That's a good comparison, saying a TV guide.
Yeah, like you can keep letting it scroll. You don't have to pick every channel. That'd get a little overwhelming. So like pick a channel you like. You created it all already from your previous energy. And helping people understand that you are creating your thoughts by the energy previously. So, and then also gauging your emotions, which is gauge of your state of consciousness in the moment. It has nothing to do with anything outside of you. And if it did, then it would be consistent among everybody. So anybody in that same exact situation would feel exactly like you do, but that's not true. So it's not truth. It may be your truth. It's your perception. It's your experience. Get it. You should have your own experience. That's why you're here. What I feel like, but I feel like we don't understand what our emotions really are. And it's just a hormone dropping down because of a thought that happened in the brain. Like if you look at the actually physiological things that are going on, I teach that too. So people understand what's going on with your body and then why your thoughts make your body do a certain thing. What is an emotion? It's really just a hormone dropping into your bloodstream and you're feeling that flowing through your bloodstream, and we all make action off of our emotions. I don't care how logical you are. That's the side of the brain that you make decisions with. That's just the way we're made as human beings. You just back it up with logic. And the more that you're aligned with your logic in your reptilian brain, your subconscious mind, then yes, you're going to make better decisions and better actions and look more logical. But you're making all your decisions off your emotions. So knowing when you're in certain emotions, I talk about this map of consciousness. If you know what emotion you're in certain emotions like pride and below, you're in destructive energy. If you take action in those emotions, which most of them you won't, it's only anger, pride, and desire that you actually take action in the destructive energies, destructive emotions. They're not destructive emotions. You should feel them all and you should understand why you're there so that you can get to know yourself. It's not about getting to know anything outside of yourself. People are always thinking, oh, I feel this way because this person said this to me. No, let's figure out like why that triggered you.
Do you think that's a lack of accountability when people say that?
Yeah. I mean, your emotions are you. It's your thoughts that made you feel that way. It's your experiences. Like that has nothing to do with anyone else. And so you got to be in control of that. You got to understand why you're thinking that way or feeling that way. And then I show them like, courage, willingness, neutrality is like where you start seeing truth. Like pride and below, this is where illness, being broke, like victim mentality, all of that is in. And even in the desire, pride, and anger, you get into hyperactivity. Underneath that, you don't even go to activity. Everything is somebody else's fault. Why would you take action? It doesn't matter what I do. Right. It's always the same thing, like same shit, different day. Right. Then you got these people that in hyperactivity, which I actually see a lot of entrepreneurs in that department. And
how so? Desire,
anger, and pride. Just look at their posts. You can pretty much almost put them all in those three categories. And this is why they are in this constant pendulum of working really hard, making money, and then losing it, and then coming back around and doing this back and forth crap because they're on a wave of destructive energy. So it can't stay consistent. And also you can't see truth in that area. Abundance can't stay. Even if you make it can't stay. It doesn't belong in that frequency. So understanding what emotions you need to be in to actually come to action and take action in is important, because underneath pride and below, the only action you should be taking is self-care to bring up your vibration. You should not be trying to cold call 100 people. You're not going to get anywhere like that. Like self-care, bring up that vibration to at least courage, willingness, neutrality, and then when you're in love, and this is when things start becoming more stress-free. Things start coming to you. And then love and above is whenever you have miracles happen. Like I can think, like when I'm in love and above, like here's an example. I was at a barbecue place and I got a pulled pork sandwich. I did not like it. And I was like, man, I should have ordered the ribs. And I was like, I'm just going to enjoy my pulled sandwich. And so I just went right back to it. And this guy comes behind me like 3 minutes later with a thing of pork ribs. He goes, I know this is weird. I've never asked anybody this before. And that's my family right there. And they're all waving at me. He was like, but I just ordered this. And I don't know why I just don't want these pork ribs anymore. And I just felt like I should ask you. And I was like, oh, and he goes, I know this is weird. I'm so sorry. And I was like, no, actually, this is perfect. Thank you so much. And he was like, I really don't ever do this. And I was like, no, that's okay. And he drops it down. And I was like, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Because it's like, it gets immediately delivered to me. And most people who give me the stuff that they're giving me are like, I don't even know why I'm giving this to you right now, but I feel so inclined to. And I'm like, it's my frequency, and so that's where I work in. And that's why people are like, well, how do you do this? How do you do that? It's like, it really is more the frequency side of things. And then I take inspired action that comes from being in those emotions.
I agree.
So I teach a lot on that.
I know. So at the end of the day, your coaching and your mentorship, even if you don't get a deal, you're still going to become a better person because you're learning more life skills. And sometimes whenever people sign up for real estate coaching, do you ever see them take those life skills and then really feed into their passion? Versus okay.
Yeah. Like all my students have mentioned, even because I teach on mindset, but I also... I teach only that in a certain class, like my Get Your Shit Together class, which is going to become, I think, How to Become Lucky instead. But the real estate course, I do the mindset. And the ones who haven't done the work for the real estate side said, Mitzi, you changed my life. And I realized that I didn't even want to do the real estate stuff. I'm going to focus on this. But they're like, I don't think you understand how much this part changed my life. Because you can't be a victim anymore after learning what I teach you. It's like, it really is 100% accountability.
And then a lot of people get into real estate because they're just like, I just want to make a lot of money. It's not really their passion, but they get into real estate and they're like, I want to make a lot of money and then do my passion. But it's like, if you learn yourself, you can do your passion to make a lot of money. So
exactly. That's how it's supposed to be. I think if you're just your fullest expression, the abundance comes with it, because abundance vibrates at that same vibration. So it just, you can't help it. It's going to be so attracted to you.
Yeah, I agree. Regarding life, what do you think is the meaning of life to you?
It's an experience. I think life is just, it's like we were given this simulation to enjoy this experience. We were just meant to allow the flow of energy to flow through us, not hold on to anything, and just allow the experience to be the experience. Be in the present moment and just enjoy yourself as much as you can while you're in the present moment. And the only way that I think you can truly do that is being your best self. Like treating people like crap, that's going to boomerang back to you too. So like, I do think you have to be a good person to really have the best experience in life.
I agree. I'm very big on karma. So it's just like, why would I treat you like crap whenever I can literally experience something bad right after that?
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense. But it does all come down to character though. Do you have any core values that you practice, not just in your business, but in your personal life?
Oh yeah. Transparency, honesty, integrity. I like teamwork, but I'm more like a synergistic kind of team player. I don't like to have employees. And then make it happen, no excuses. So it's
Get it done
that's a
by
big
any
one.
means.
Yeah. Well, as long as it's like ethical,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, but exactly like, cause there's always a way to get things done. Even when I was a kid, I was super resourceful cause I didn't have a lot. So I would be like looking around and I always believed I would find what I needed in the moment. And it still follows me as an adult. I'll be looking around and people are like, well, there's no way we can do this. And I'm looking around, I'm like, I found a paperclip. Well, we can put it together and we can do this. You know, like,
A paperclip saves the day. It's because the mindset.
yes, I really feel like I'm an excellent problem solver and I'll always find the solution.
What's something that you've learned that helped you move 5 steps forward? Something that let you grow?
Everything's my fault.
So you took accountability and that helped you grow?
Getting over myself and the excuses I had made on why I wasn't where I wanted to be.
Do you have any story or good situation that reflects that?
Got a lot of like, fell on my face a lot, you know, like, so I guess I'll go into it. I'm not sure if this is maybe answering the question, but like I was super victim, complainer, all of that. And I realized that complaining was attracting the same thing I was complaining about. So I actually, for a while, thought that was real truth. I thought that was reality because that's what I was creating in my reality. And when you're in that vicious cycle of victimhood, it seems so real. And I understand when people are like, you don't understand. I do. Because I had my kids early. Became a single mom. I had it really hard. And I just thought you had to work really hard for your money. You had to do certain things a certain way. And I thought I was doing everything the right way, like what everybody tells you to do. I went to college. I did everything that you were supposed to do. But life just seemed so hard. And I felt like I was always being knocked down. And I just thought life sucks and people suck. And I lived in that for probably a good 8 years of my adult life. And I was like, but what was happening too is I was attracting awful relationships, toxic people, because I was toxic. And if you had told me that at that time, I'd be like, I'm not, I'm an empath. I'm a good person. These people, though, these narcissists, they're
ironically, the common denominator is innocent.
Yeah. And I had to realize where I was toxic. Like everything that I was seeing on the outside of me, I was like, oh, I'm not the toxic person. Yeah, when you're people pleasing to get people to like you, you're just as manipulative. You know, like you're manipulating people when you're a people pleaser.
I agree.
And when that came to me, I was like, oh crap! Oh my god, I'm manipulative. What? And then I decided to like figure these things out by my over time, and it was having these bad toxic relationships. I got further abused in. I started. It just kept on cycling of people suck. Life sucks, you know, like people are just like this, you know, and finally it was like I had to get out of that lane and take a breath and be like, what the hell?
It was the energy you were putting out there. When you're getting it back, you're like, this is true. This is real.
Yeah, I'm like, I want to dodge this boomerang I keep on throwing out. And I had to realize, oh my God, quit complaining. So I read this book called The No Complaining Rule, and I quit complaining for 21 days and it changed my life. And so that helped. And then also just realizing, okay, complaining doesn't get you anywhere. And in fact, you're usually complaining because you don't want to take the action you need to take. And you feel like you're doing something when you're talking about it. And so it takes away that action for you. So it makes you feel like you took action. And so doing that, then I created the No Complaining Challenge. So all of this just kind of came around. But then I also realized that you can't attract a narcissist if you're not a people pleaser. They need you to feed them like that. And so when you start having better boundaries and you actually start like honoring yourself and valuing your own self and all of that, then they can't even be around you, you know? So then I was like, oh my God, I was attracting that the whole time, you know? And I thought my picker was broken. No, my frequency was off. And that's where I was at. And so, and then I got sick, and then I was like, you know, in a way I kind of wanted it to kill me. So I was like, I'll just let it keep going. And then it started spreading, and I was like, okay, I need to go ahead and and do something. And I finally got out of that victim mentality that I was in for so long. And then when I found out it was spreading, I was like, oh shit, I didn't mean to set this up for myself. You know, by the time you want to live, you know, you're like, you already set up the energy to try to die in a way. And I realized, man, you were so hurting on the inside that you thought that everybody sucked so much and that nobody really truly loved you or supported you, that you thought it would be easier just to die.
Wow.
You know, like that is awful. You know, so like I was like, I need to get my shit together.
So was that point in your life to where you're like, nope, gotta change?
Oh, there were so many points.
Oh, okay.
The no complaining, the toxic relationships, that, and you know, just realizing that I also was hurting people by not. And that was a big one, was noticing how I hurt people because I was hurt. I would get triggered. Yeah, I would get triggered and I would actually see the wrong thing. I couldn't see truth. So I would project onto that person like they were doing something and they weren't. And so I thought I was defending myself when really I was just abusing a person. And it was like all these like, there were so many times through it that I was just learning.
Well, regarding victim mentality, do you think that's something that people learn from family, or how do we actually get to there?
I think you can learn it from family and friends,
Really?
even
so
teachers.
Your environment, it's environmental?
I think it's environmental.
Wow.
I don't think kids are born victims.
True.
Yeah.
It's like, no, my mom always blames people, so I learned to blame people.
Yeah, it's a programming that we learn.
I agree. I know you're very well known for your success in real estate and even like your trainings on mindset. But what wisdom are you seeking right now, and what's got your attention at the moment?
Sales funnels. No.
You're like, more leads, more.
I'm so big on organic marketing that like people are like, what do you do? What do you do? I'm like, I do my energy stuff. And like people just don't get it. It's like, so I'm like, maybe I should do some sales funnels too and like just increase it. But on the wisdom side of things, it's just furthering understanding myself, like catching whenever I'm doing things that I know better about. It's like, because there's so many blind spots, so many layers. Like some people think that this is something that I just came across. Like, I'm never going to be perfect. What the hell? Like, all this
like,
work,
not in my world.
I'm never going to be perfect. No, but because I realized that some of the things that I wasn't putting myself out there to do is because I wasn't perfect enough for it. And I'm like, dude, you're never going to get there. Because there's people on Facebook, when you put yourself out there, they're like, oh, well, don't you do this? And you know, like they try to make all these comments and you're like, dude, you don't even know what the hell you're talking about. But I know you know what I'm talking about. And so they'll like judge you based off of what they're thinking about you and projecting on you. And I started taking that a little bit. And normally I don't care about what other people think, but I noticed myself being like, well, maybe I'm not ready for this. Maybe I'm not ready for that. And I was like, dude, you're never going to be perfect. There's going to be always somebody who's going to tell you you're not ready or that you can't do this or whatever. Fuck them, you know, like do it anyways and prove them wrong. And so I had to realize that recently, like you're not going to be perfect. Put yourself out there, do your class, do your mindset. Even if you're not perfect and you're not Jesus, you can still teach on consciousness, you know, like I had to recognize that. And so I could put my class out recently. And that's also what's held me back on putting my book out. I was like, who am I? You know, writing the book and then slam it. Like, I'm guilty of what I just wrote about. You know, like, who am I to put this book out? But it's like realizing that there's going to be layers, that you're never going to be done in this journey of life. There's going to be a constant evolution and you just got to be okay with that. So like that wisdom that I'm coming across is that. And it's more of just trying to understand like, hey, the moment that you start holding yourself back because you don't think you're good enough yet, that's something you need to dive into and like, let that shit go.
That's a good perception to have. I know you also mentioned that you were in nutrition and yoga. So if you weren't in real estate, what route do you think you would have taken?
So when I was doing yoga and the nutrition, Ayurveda and all that, actually people started asking me to be their life coach. So I don't just do Ayurveda and nutrition and all that, but I was also an Akashic record reader. And something that most people don't know about me was I was internationally known, and it only started with 2 people, and everything was word of mouth. And so I was in 5 different countries, people calling me from all over, you know, doing these Akashic record readings, which is basically reading your book of life. It's not like a psychic reading. It's like actually like kind of like, I guess they call them prophets in a way or something. But people would get a healing and they would have more guidance. And then I've even turned people from atheist into believing in God during a reading. It was insane, like how powerful it was. So people started asking me to be their life coach because I can tell what people should be actually doing in their life, because I can read people's book of life. And you can only go into there with a pure heart. So, the life coaching, I think I'd still be doing that. Cause even though I was doing nutrition and all that, it was more like a holistic, comprehensive, like, hey, your life isn't just your goals, like of how to make money in your career, but it's your family, your social, your friends, community. It's all the way around nutrition. And then Ayurveda really isn't just nutrition. It just starts there, because if your nutrition really isn't, your health really isn't there, it's harder for your mind to really be at top notch, you know? Because I know when I'm super healthy, I feel like a freaking superhuman. I'm like, I'm going to fly off to today, you know, like I'll move this car out of the way.
Yeah, when you feel good, you perform good. So.
Yeah. And so it starts off with nutrition first, but it actually is all about human potential. Ayurveda actually translates to wisdom of life. Oh. So I was always into understanding human potential and the wisdom of life. So I think I still would be going towards what I'm still going towards, which is this whole teaching people like ancient secrets. I think we all should know, you know, in layman's terms.
What's one of the ancient secrets that you can share with us?
Know yourself.
Know yourself.
Yeah, and nothing in excess.
Why?
Well, it's gluttony, but nothing in excess. Like anything you do in excess, it's not good for you. Like anything. You're supposed to be more a well-rounded kind of thing. You're not supposed to be like, oh, I'm going to eat all this spaghetti. You know, like, chill, dude. Like, do it. Not too much, not too little. Just do what you need and keep moving. And that's not supposed to be your only experience.
So do you think even without real estate, you'd still be the same person you are today?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. You're like, either way, I have a purpose, and that purpose doesn't matter what industry I'm in.
Yep.
That's awesome. So now just giving our audience some advice. You said off camera that you were looking into particular properties right now. Can you tell me about that specifically? Because I think you mentioned mobile homes.
Yeah. So mobile home parks, and then land and mobile homes. So I like the mobile home already on the land that I can just rehab that's not been moved before. But if not, then I'm going for double wides years 2000 and up, $20,000 max. Which is cosmetic rehab, and then land $50,000 and under for a half an acre with utilities. And this is around San Antonio. I prefer like Elmendorf, La Jolla, Floresville, those kind of areas south of San Antonio. And then that's mainly what I like. And then I also like true wholesale deals that I can just throw back on the market and wholesale.
Yeah, you are a licensed realtor, right?
Yeah, I'm totally down for that.
Well, you have a very specific criteria. What made you choose that criteria? Did you do something outside of that and you're like, it doesn't work, it doesn't work, it doesn't work? Like, what made you choose that specific? Because you're saying under 20,000 already attached utilities. Why specifically that?
Because I like to make 100K.
Oh, okay. So that's like a secret on how to make more of a spread is that criteria.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like the minimum I want to make is 50K, but I'm really shooting for 100K. So like I know that in these areas I can sell these for this certain amount, and as long as I keep it under a certain amount, I'm good.
Got it. What are some of your thoughts on the importance of networking and mentorship that's in the real estate industry, specifically for women though?
Gosh, this is like one of the big things that I teach on in my class. Like people can get you so far ahead by like just little small tips and things that they know. They may know somebody who's like an excellent contractor that's going to be your like, I think we're all each other's keys for each other's locks. So like whatever you're having a problem with, somebody else is going to have a solution for. Whatever you suck at, somebody else is going to be good at. And so like getting to know a network that synergistically complements you in different ways, I think is like ultimate. And then on top of that, if you're somebody like me who doesn't like it, I've had a big wholesale operation, but I descaled it. What I like is just teaming up with people that already know what they're doing and they have their own business. So I don't have to train them. I don't have to worry about any managing them or anything. They know they do their job, they get paid, and I don't have to worry about anything. So my network, I set up those kind of things with people too. So I don't have to have like
that makes perfect
employees
sense.
or marketing or an
Partnership over, not so much mentorship, but it's like it does take away from the deal whenever you're pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring and you're like 50-50 profit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have a situation to where mentorship kind of made you get the short end of the stick versus just partnering with them?
Oh yeah. Like when I mentor my people, of course, the ones who take action, they do well. And like my one-on-ones are always 100% successful. It's the group coaching, like beginners. Sometimes they don't take the action needed. And I've quit group coaching beginners because I noticed that beginners just don't do as well in groups as like one-on-one. So when they take the one-on-one, they're pretty serious and they'll take the action. But they do. I would do better splitting the deals 50-50 than what I charge.
And you can manage your time probably a little bit better too.
Yeah.
Do you have, what do you think would be like a recommendation for like a good morning routine for other people to use?
So I'm actually have a journal that I'll be putting out with my book.
Oh, wow.
So when you first wake up, write down, like, just picture yourself in the life that you really want to be living, your ideal life. Like you just woke up in that bed, you're smelling the smells of the area that you're in, whatever's happening, and just really picture yourself in that and be like, and I usually say, thank you for this day. And whatever's in my highest and best interest flows to me. And then I write down 7 things that I'm grateful for. You can write more if you want to, but I at least try to do 7 things that I'm grateful for. And then I look at my to-do list that I made from the night before.
Yeah.
So that I can reiterate it again. Because the first, like right before you go to sleep and right when you wake up, your subconscious mind is so much more programmable. So you can be doing your affirmations then too. So if you have your affirmations, do that too. Look at your vision board, whatever, because it's like bypassing the conscious mind and going straight to the subconscious mind. So you're able to program yourself. And I'll ask questions like, how can I spend all this freaking money that's just flowing to me today? And setting up my mind to be like, oh, we're making a bunch of money today. Like, let's do this.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it about 75 to 90 minutes before you go to sleep? And then that 75 minute to 90 minutes when you wake up is the most crucial time?
I was thinking more like 15 minutes.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Maybe. I mean, it's when you start feeling groggy. So you'll feel it in your own body. Yeah, I think everybody could be a little different. So if you just don't drink coffee in the first, when you first wake up, and that grogginess, take advantage of it. Some people are trying to get out of that grogginess. That is one of the most powerful states to be in when it comes to manifesting. I don't drink coffee in the morning because I'm like, oh yeah, grogginess. Let's
snap out of it.
Let's put all this stuff in my subconscious mind while you're still here.
I agree. And I like how you also mentioned the night before, because I'm very big on plan your following day. So whenever you wake up, you're already on go.
Yeah.
You don't have to spend time thinking, planning and all that. It's like if you do, like I even have a post-it on my front door that says, do it today so you can relax tomorrow, but not so much relax, but just less effort.
Yeah.
I'm 100% into that.
Way less stress when you do what you know you should be doing.
Yep. You wake up already knowing versus like, oh, what I got to do today? What time is it? What's today's date? Because I never know the date, but
yeah, I'm the same way.
I never know what day it is. I never know the date, nothing. But it's like I wake up and I know what I need to do for that day, though. So
exactly, same. And our subconscious mind, the way it works is like our brains like do this like disk fragmentation, like computers do. So like when you're asleep, your brain actually goes through this like bath. It's like a lymphatic system. Like it's your lymphatic system for your brain. So it cleans out the toxins. And this is usually when you're dreaming. And so it's cleaning out the toxins. Thoughts create toxins, all kinds of stuff. So it's cleaning it out, but it's also taking in consideration all the stuff it's ever known. Your subconscious mind has seen so much and knows everything. Okay.
Yep.
So like it's taking everything you've ever known and coming up with what your to-do list and what problems you have. And so if you're even wanting to solve a problem the night before, be like, and then talk about the solution that you want, the outcome of what you're trying. Don't just focus on the problem, focus on what you want to come out of the problem. Because every lesson has a lesson. So like, it's all good. You're not done with it yet if you're still in the lesson. So I think you just mentions the problem you're having and then your to-do list, and your brain takes all this information that I already knew from the subconscious mind. It's like, oh, it'd be good for you to know this tomorrow and this tomorrow consciously, because it subconsciously, but you don't know it consciously. So now it's taking that saying, oh, you need to know this consciously. Okay, we're just going to pack this up for you. So when you wake up, you'll be able to solve your problems and get on it.
It's in the front of your mind.
Yeah,
I agree.
Exactly. That's why they say sleep on it too, instead of like when you have a problem
That's a powerful
to solve.
statement. I agree. Because you wake up with a new mindset. So I agree. And to wrap up this informative interview, this is something we always ask. It's a question we love to hear from everyone. So if you were to speak to your 80-year-old self, what would you tell 80-year-old Mitzi?
Go after it all. Don't hold back on anything. When you feel like dancing, dance. When you feel like singing, sing. Don't worry about what anybody else thinks, because this is your experience. Have fun.
I love that. Would you ask her anything specific, 80-year-old Mitzi?
Did you have fun?
Because that's a big importance in life.
Yeah.
Would 80-year-old Mitzi tell you anything today?
Probably I'm proud of you.
Oh.
Took you some time, but
but you made it. Hey, there's as long as you're alive, it's never too late to do it. So I love that. Well, it was such a pleasure to have you here today, and I really enjoyed you speaking on your personal life, your business life, mindset, and everything that you're a part of, because you're a close friend to me, so I appreciate you as a person. Thank you so much for being here. And again, I'm Ayla Melendez, aka R.E.I, your host of the Chronicles R.E.I edition. And again, this is Mitzi Dyane. So thank you so much for joining us today.
thank you for having me.
Thank you.